they'd hand me books under their desk like N.T. Wright or Walter Brueggemann or somebody like that, and I just was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And that's where I first encountered the Wesleyan Quadrilateral and began to be much more compelled by that than like sola scriptura type things. And so just, yeah, began to really have my horizons broadened. It was like 3 weeks after I turned 22 that I started seminary. So I was young and experienced. I had been working at churches actually since I was 19. I've been on church staffs consecutively since I was 19 years old. I'm
Mhm.
36 now. Um, and so, yeah, then I was working at some of the kind of largest churches in America in the DFW area, two mega churches, one about 50,000 members, one about 10,000 members, and was just, one of them was a Southern Baptist church. And then one of them was kind of your typical, kind of moderate purple evangelical type church. And the second one I really loved. I had a really hard experience at the first one, the Southern Baptist Church. I tell a bunch of stories about it in the book because I won't get into all that. But being at that more moderate evangelical church, I just began to be really convinced that my intersection of pastoral leadership really happened when we combined what I would call evangelical expression, so very modern, kind of relevant worship, teaching, kids ministry, very accessible, very engaging. You walk in off the street, you've never been to church before, it makes sense, it meets you where you are. But then really pairing that with more mainline and really more Wesleyan mainline theology. And so really set out to start a church at the intersection of those two things. And so Austin's my hometown. It just made a lot of sense to move back here to do that. I've loved Austin my whole life, and kind of in the urban center is where we launched, and it's been wonderful. It's been incredibly challenging. We started with 5 of us, and so there were those early days when there's just a few folks. There's a lot of like, oh my gosh, is this gonna make it? I tell people, and this is not an exaggeration, for at least 18 months driving into church every Sunday morning to begin our multi-hour setup process because we're portable. I'd turn on South Congress, which is the kind of main thoroughfare where our church is located, and I would just pray. I would just pray that somebody would show up, and I was pretty convinced those first 18 months that was like I'd be driving up and pulling in and saying, this is probably the day when no one comes. It's probably the day when we shut it down.
Yeah.
But people kept coming, they kept getting engaged, and we kept trying new things. Some of them worked, some of them didn't, but it's led into this decades long ministry that's been really incredible overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good.